I am here on the floor for story time with Amaryllis. We're going to look at some kids' books. Oh, I've just felt like sitting on the floor lately. So we're talking about landscapes, and they sound kind of lame to me. I'm just really trying to get over that. They just do. What is this curl doing? Okay, you're going to be different. It's cool. But I love children's books. So I gotta like landscapes somehow, right? All right, so I've chosen a few of my favorites that I come to quite often. One is The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. No doubt you've seen this before. I hope you have. So his way of illustrating was with cut paper. So we've talked about how cut paper can be a way to kind of mentally place things together, and how even if you don't actually cut the paper, maybe you could do the mental gymnastics of considering what these shapes look like when you're going to paint them on the page. And you might think, well, that's not fair, because he actually did use cut paper, and so they would layer on top of each other, right? He didn't have to worry about the negative space that the snow creates. He actually cut out the snow and boom, put it on top of some buildings cut out of paper. And then on top of that, then we've got the next pane of our scenery, P-A-N-E, which is this little fence, etc., etc. So nonetheless, we can still learn with, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes. We've got a whole scene here, all right? I included the snowman into the clump of snow. We've got a whole scene here, and we have an understanding that this is in the background, this is in the middle ground, and this is in the foreground because of overlapping. That's all it is. Overlapping with high contrast. Overlapping with high contrast. You don't need to go to architecture school. You can just overlap with high contrast. Look at that. So much depth. You know how I did that? Scale. Little people. Big snow mountains. Adorable. If you've known me for any length of time, you know what book I'm going to bring. It's a Mary Blair, I Can Fly, my absolute favorite. Endlessly inspired by this woman, which actually inspires me also to continue what I'm doing, because sometimes you think, well, it's another painting. Well, if she hadn't created this book, I would not have gone to it hundreds of times. So there's that. Now, each spread of this book, which is why I bring it up, is a different scene. So unlike a lot of books that go through kind of the same scenery and characters, this has the same character with a lot of different scenes on every single spread, and they're different, just different kinds of scenes. So we've got something fairly simple. The vantage point is different. We've got rooftops over here. How easy would it be to think, oh, I'm going to draw a girl on a swing and a kid on a swing behind them. There's trees and there's houses. Or she is swinging so high and we want to isolate her so much that the rooftops are down here. Like, that is so genius. Genius, which is why I keep coming back to Mary Blair. So, and look, oh my goodness, look, there's a cute little steeple. I love it. The thing about Mary Blair is that she used very, 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 very flat color. And so, like Ezra Jack Keats, who didn't do like a ton of shading, she hardly did any. Whenever there was shading, it would be a little bit of dry brush to show a highlight or texture. But it didn't often portray the volume of an object the way you would imagine like shading a sphere would look like, right? Art school right there. Here, not a lot of shading, there's actually just texture, but you do get a sense of depth because this color is up against this color. Closer to us, it's brighter. Further from us, it's dimmer, less saturated. Super simple. All right, so I just really wanted to show you how very flat these colors are. Oftentimes what makes us shy away from doing scenes and landscapes, like maybe you've thought, I want to do a children's book, but I'll just do like the person and not like where that person is walking around, its environment, because I've thought that. And yet we can create a scene with very simple shapes, flat color, not an architectural drawing. The only thing that really gives us a sense of depth here is scale. This doorway is larger than anything else. It's reaching to the bottom. This chair is pretty small. This table is pretty small. And we have a feeling that it's up against the wall. Why? Because it's small, it's close to the wall, and that's all we need to know. That's all we need to know. Or we could just not do a background and use an element as a vignette, right? Especially if you're thinking of illustrating something that's highly imaginative. This child is in their element, like imagining where they're at, or we can push that a little bit. Here she's looking out the window. We don't have any sense of what the room is like, and there's hardly anything to show us what's inside the room. There's just like a few lines to show the curtains. What we want to see is the background, and even that is pretty flattened. And we can do a tree with some owls and some colors behind it. We can do that. This is fun. All right, so that's fine and dandy for, again, Mary Blair and Ezra Jack Keats, and they're very flat, mid-century take on things. That was the fad at the time. I wanted to show you just one more before I transition. This Garden of Verses. Here we have some more scenery, but a lot of these are from a further away vantage point than those of Mary Blair that were really up close, and you could see like the face like that big. But here, this is focused on scenes that are much further away. I think these are the biggest people in this book. I'm glad the book's not going to prove me wrong on what I just said. So these scenes, much like Mary Blair's, are flat colors, but I wanted to show you an example of something a little further away. So our subjects are just smaller, but look at how simple this background is, and we totally get a sense of what's going on there. Very cool, mostly because of a line here. That's it. Line mark, very, very important on this one. Now, how about something a little more complicated? Here's another golden book, same-ish era. They're really images pulled from the Peter Pan movie, which, yes, Mary Blair had a hand in, so that's why I have it. But we're taking the same bedroom scene and adding a little bit more complexity. But I want you to notice it's not a lot more, and yet we feel a sense of depth because this bed is at an angle. Whereas in this little girl's bed over here, she had a very kind of silhouetted flat bed. I don't know how to say it. It's flat. It's just flat. Here we have more of a sense of depth, not because of a lot of shading. There is some. I would give it like 3 levels. We've got our base yellow tunic, bedtime nightie. We have a little scratchy dry brush graphite look here, and we have some outlines for some really dark darks. That's about it. And we have a sense of depth. We have overlapping going on. We have a little perspective with the bed, and we have a little bit more on the rendering shading value side. but not a ton. But the thing that I think makes these scenes pop is none of those. Like, it could be as simple as the ones we've had so far. But yes, it has those three elements, but what really makes it shine is the perspective. So we, not just the perspective, the composition, where we're looking at this from, the vantage point. That's the word I'm looking for, the vantage point. So just like the little girl swinging above the houses, here we have the whole crew coming out of the window. How could we have seen it? We could have seen it as them coming out of the window right towards us. So window right in front of us, people coming out, and we would be telling the story, right? But putting it here on its side, for one, makes us look at these guys and we have much more of an organic shape. They're not all having to overlap each other. If they were all coming at us, they would all be overlapping each other unless that window is as big as a house. And then also, it's more interesting. We're looking from high up, and it's almost like the story is inviting us to come into this scene, this landscape. I'm gonna look for another one. That happens quite a bit. It wasn't hard. Quite a bit with the story, because it's so important, very important to the story. You know what? Let's land here. So we have the same element of looking out the window. This is the bookend to our story, right? Began with going out the window, ended with bye-bye out the window. But look at the levels we have going on here. We have the house that is theirs right here in the foreground. Then we have this little scene, and then we have the water and sky blending into each other in the background. 3 panes. We've got a whole scene. And then when you simplify the composition and how you're going to go about the landscape, then you can play with color like crazy. And that's where the watercolor looks so cool. Right here. Right there. Oh yeah, all of that. Looks beautiful. So I dare you, I just keep coming up with more inspiration. I dare you to take a children's book and look at how they handled the scenery. All right. Oh, there's one more I want to show you. One more I really want to show you. I'll show you in a comment. And then you'll have to comment with your book that you will show us real quick. I think that they approached this scenery, their magic sauce was this lighting right here. So we've got like this really dark, sinister, almost creeping going on over here, and this bright light, and then the dark sky almost like encapsulates this landscape. I think I could do that. I think I could do that with a bedroom with a nightlight on, and someone is outside of the door wanting to knock on mom and dad's bedroom door, and beyond that there's this little nightlight. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So show me a children's book. I hope you enjoyed that.